Welcome to The Fight on Matrix Midwest with Randy Carricker and company.
Hi, kids. Welcome to The Fight. Great to have you with us. That is Andrew. I'm Randy. Did you enjoy your opening weekend of Cardinal baseball?
I sure did. That's why I'm repping the Birds.
It was a success. We'll give you our favorite moments. The Blues are unbelievable right now, and the men's Final Four is set in the NCAA basketball tournament. But let's start with our quick hit sponsored by St. Luke's. And the Cardinals really couldn't have asked for more from their opening weekend. They took the series from Tampa Bay. Rookie J.J. Weatherholt is off to a great start in his first week in the big leagues. And the thing Ollie Marmol said would define this team, a never-say-die, resilient attitude, showed up in the early going. Even in defeat yesterday, the Cardinals rallied before falling to the Rays. And I think that'll be the defining quality, Andrew, of this team, is that he says they're going to play a hard nine. It'll be a lot like those Tony La Russa teams. They're going to have their ups and downs, but I think they'll always play hard.
There were a lot of times this weekend where I thought, the Cardinals are just out of it now, especially on Sunday when the gap got pretty large for Tampa Bay. It was like, okay, the first two games were fun, full of drama, but the gap's too large. And then that offense still stayed in it, which was really exciting to see, really promising to see from this young group because, yeah, you're right. You can just kind of lay it all out there on any given day. But when you see that right away with this young ball club, when they battle adversity throughout Saturday's game, when you blow a lead and then you win that game in extras, and then in Sunday's game where you almost pull off another come-from-behind victory. Like, those are the moments where you can attach to as a fan.
And I would say, amazingly, after 3 games, that number 26 is the biggest star on the team. He's kind of energized the team, and he's thrilled the fan base. If I do have a concern right now in the early going, it's the bullpen. They had a rough time of it on opening day. They had a pretty rough time of it on Saturday, and then obviously yesterday, although May did not have a good start, but the bullpen didn't help either. And we're going to have a lot of concerns. We're going to ride the roller coasters throughout the course of the season. But in the first 3 games, that's the way I feel about it.
Isn't it funny, though, that the bullpen is the problem right now, whereas in the past 2 or 3 years, the bullpen's been the bright spot that we've pointed to. So if that's the only issue the Cardinals have right now, this is a huge win coming off of opening weekend.
And the Mets are in town to open a 3-game series tonight. The surging Blues moved to within 4 points of a playoff spot with their Saturday win over Toronto. I have to laugh when I mentioned Blues
so
and
awesome.
Playoffs, right? Since they traded Braden Shen and Justin Falk, the Blues are 8-1-2. And if you go back to the Olympic break, they're 11-2-2 for 24 of a possible 30 points. Can they make the playoffs? It's going to be difficult with a 4-game trip out west coming up starting tonight, plus a back-to-back with Colorado. But it seems like some of these young players have figured out what it takes to win in the NHL. By the way, here's a stat for you. When Dylan Holloway plays, the Blues are 23-17-9. That .561 points percentage would be good for 5th in the Western Conference and number 1 in the wild card race. When he doesn't play, they're 8-13-2. That points percentage would be 31st in the league.
That is a crazy statistic, but an awesome one to say the least. Now, the other thing I'll say too is effort has been the thing we've been looking for out of this Blues group all season. And it might come too little too late, but there were multiple moments that the Blues have shown me over the past couple of games, especially when Robert Thomas went in shorthanded and took the puck away from 3 Maple Leafs just in this hockey game. The effort that he showed to do that, to get the puck to the slot. All of a sudden, Pius Suter is just sitting there for a shorthanded goal. You did not get those when the Blues were playing in November and December, but you're getting those now. They really are coming together and gelling as a group so much better. And also, when you win, it brings confidence, and this group is playing very confidently.
And I wonder sometimes, Andrew, we talk about effort. I wonder if at this stage of his career, Braden Shen is just slow, or if Robbie Fabry just, can give his all, but it's just not good enough. I wonder if with the guys that were out injured, if maybe the guys that were replacing them just weren't good enough.
And I think they're just playing more free.
Yeah.
This young group is just playing free, and I don't know if there's any tie to that with the veterans that are now off of this team. But I don't think you're wrong in guessing that by the time you're in your mid-30s that you are going to slow down.
The St. Louis Battlehawks drew an announced crowd of 32,000 to their opener, and after a sluggish first half, turned it on a bit after Nelly performed at halftime and pulled off a 16-10 win over the D.C. Defenders. The Battlehawks defense held D.C. to just 153 yards, just 66 in the second half, and knocked off the UFL's defending champs. The offense had some first-game jitters, but did just enough to come out on top. I don't know if they were first game jitters or if it's just the UFL not having very good offense.
Yeah, I think that's probably more what it is because both defenses were just attacking Silvers and Teamu, and it was like no one was blocking on the offensive line half the time. But in general, that was a good come-from-behind first game for Ricky Prohl. Like, I was really excited to see him wearing the headset and kind of guiding this team back from behind. And we know that he is a gamer when he played the game. Now we know that he can be a gamer when he puts on the headset. This Battlehawks team can be very fun, and I'll be curious to know if they can keep up with whether it's attendance or whether it's just the level of play all season long.
And they should get better and better as the season goes along. One of the things we talk about during the NFL season is that there aren't 32 quarterbacks good enough to start in the NFL. So if there aren't that, then what do you have in the UFL? So what you need to do is have the best quarterback, and when he does make throws, you can't have people dropping passes. That's why the offense sputtered, is because they just couldn't get the passing game going, and it's going to be a passing offense.
And you know, it's crazy because I was looking up all the quarterbacks around the league, and there will be some recognizable names for people out there. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, you'll have Tua's brother. Like, there are plenty of football names that you can say, oh, I remember that guy from the college ranks. But this step up from the UFL, you mentioned how there aren't 32 great quarterbacks in the National Football League. You're going to get just guys from college saying like, hey, this is just my next step and maybe this is where I fizzle out to.
College basketball, more coming up on this in a moment, but congratulations to the Illini, who are in the Final Four for the first time since they went to their Final Four here in St. Louis in 2005. Iowa gave Illinois all it wanted for about 34 minutes on Saturday, but then the Illini pulled ahead, and it was never a one-score game for the final 5:43 as Illinois won by a dozen. After a sluggish end to the regular season in which they went 4-5, including a first-game loss in the Big Ten tournament, after a 20-3 start, Illinois has won all 4 of their NCAA tournament games by double digits, and they sure look like they belong in the Final Four.
Good for Illinois, and they are peaking at the right time. This is a team that did not have Stojakovic, did not have Boswell for stretches down, let's say, call it the final 10 games of the season, and that's why you saw Illinois get caught in overtime losses here and there. But now everybody healthy, everybody playing their best basketball. They can win in a variety of different ways. If Keaton Wagler is in one-on-one form, let him just cook against UConn in the Final Four. But they also have good interior game. They can rebound well. This is an offense that I would be afraid of if I'm UConn.
And great to see Brad Underwood there making it to the Final Four. He had a vision when he got to Illinois. A lot of times people would take shots at him, but it has worked. And granted, that vision has changed over the years with a lot of foreign players, and the style of play has changed a little bit. But at the core, they play defense, and that's why they won on Saturday night, and that's why they have a chance. It's a slim chance because of the opponents, but a chance to make it to the championship and win it all.
I think we have the 4 best teams in the Final Four, though.
I agree.
think Illinois, UConn, Arizona, and Michigan are the 4 best teams in college basketball.
More college basketball. SLU coach Josh Schertz, who signed a new contract a week ago, reportedly interviewed for the vacant NC State job over the weekend. Yesterday, numerous reports surfaced that he was no longer a candidate for the job, and he later issued a statement reasserting his loyalty to the SLU program and wrote, quote, "It would take something incredible for me to consider leaving, and my actions have matched my words." Hey, is Josh Schertz going to be here for the long term? Probably not, but have to give credit to St. Louis University for giving him the resources right now to turn down Power Fours. And it's, as Chris May said, flattering to St. Louis University that all these Power Fours are coming after their coach.
And you have to be pretty okay with the fact that Josh Schertz is being transparent with you. Like, we live in a world where you want to know all the details, and the social media world will tell you that right away you want to know details. For Schertz to actually come out and say these things to the fans, that just makes you feel better about yourself and your commitment to the program too. So know that, yes, we also have to wonder if that next big job could come tomorrow, or if it comes a year from now and Schertz could leave. No contract is safe anymore, ever, in sports. So yes, Schertz might have signed the big deal with SLU, but that doesn't mean that a bigger deal doesn't hit the table and he says, that's where I'm going.
And do I love the idea that coaches walk out on signed contracts? Absolutely not. I expect somebody to be a person of their word, but I also understand that industry is completely different than any other industry, and coaches do walk out on contracts and players and programs all the time. It's just part and parcel of what you're wrapped up in when you're in college athletics.
And they'll take the player too. Let's not
Yeah, they
forget
will.
that. They'll
Yep.
take your favorite player into the next job.
Those are your quick hits, sponsored by St. Luke's, top-notch doctors in everything from heart health, orthopedics, and more. Visit stlukes-stl.com today. And later in the show, we're going to have a little bit of risky business for you. We're going to put together a parlay, a little bit more NCAA action.
Yes, although, even though I said I'm going to bet on college basketball till I can't, Randy, our St. Louis
today.
Blues play tonight. I'm looking at that game.
There we go. We'll have that later. But next up, our weekend highlights here in The Fight. Time now for our takes on the weekend in the world of sports, and the Final Four is set among the men. Michigan grabbed an early lead and never looked back yesterday in a 95-62 rout of Tennessee. And boy, the score didn't even indicate how dominant Michigan was. The Vols were up 16-14 with just over 11 minutes left in the first half, but then the Wolverines went on a 21-0 run to put it away. Yexel Lendenborg led 5 Wolverines in double figures, and the Wolverines advanced. And how about this game? Duke grabbed a 15-point halftime lead over UConn, but the Huskies came back and got an incredible three-pointer off a steal from Braylon Mullins and advanced to with an unforgettable 73-72 win. We'll see this for the next 20 years.
Yes, we will. That is, it might be the shot of the tournament, like all said and done. This is the moment that if you're UConn, you thought for sure you were out of it.
Yep.
Think about it. You were down by like 20 at halftime, and Duke was just dominating you in all phases of the game, especially on the glass, especially on second chance opportunities. But you just chip away. There's 20 minutes to chip away at a team, and I cannot believe Duke choked in the biggest of stages.
And this is this era's Christian Laettner or Bryce Drew. This is going to be one of the iconic shots in the history. Who is Archie, the guy from
Diacono?
Yeah.
Yep.
So this will be this year's and this era's huge shot like that.
Yeah, you know, it's funny too, because I see so many people breaking down the play on what Boozer could have done better in that moment, because there was only 10 seconds left in the game. Literally, Duke could have just held the ball in the backcourt.
Right.
Game would have ended.
I thought that was the play.
And you also could have seen a foul happen at some point, because there's no way UConn is going to just let them hold the ball. But the way Boozer looks up the floor, like that play is converted probably 99% of the time.
It is.
There's hardly any chance that a ball's going to be tipped and it's not a wide open dunk. But in this case, it came back to bite you, and now that's all people are focusing on.
And because of the circumstances, that's why it'll be one of the more unforgettable plays in the history of college basketball. If this happens at St. Louis University in the middle of December, the nation doesn't know about it. But because it put a team in the Final Four, it'll be one of the biggest shots in the history of the sport.
And every coach is yelling bounce pass, right? Every
Yep,
CYC
everyone.
coach is yelling bounce pass.
Yeah. We mentioned the Illini earlier. Saturday, freshman Keaton Wagler scored 25 to lead Illinois to their 71-59 win over Iowa in Houston. Arizona also pulled away late and eliminated Purdue 79-64. And while it's the first Final Four in 21 years for Illinois, it's the first in 25 years for the Wildcats, who got 52 points from their freshman starters. Braden Burries had 14. Ivan Karchenkov, there we go, had 18.
Everyone knows him.
And the Koa Pete had 20. Pete, the son of former St. Louis football Cardinals guard Todd Pete.
How funny is that?
Yeah.
What a cool connection there. You know, Tommy Lloyd is one of those coaches that recruits, I think, the best internationally out of all coaches. So, you see Ivan Karchenkov, right? And it's just like, wow, where did you find that guy?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You can find good basketball players everywhere in the world.
And by the way, for the schools that are looking for a head coach, you know, Tommy Lloyd was Mark Few's #1 assistant at Gonzaga before he got the Arizona job. Right. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing to give a guy an opportunity.
No, I mean, it doesn't have to be you see this guy have a Cinderella run, because that's what Dusty May was. That's what Shaka Smart was. You give the big job to the guy that had the big run. No, sometimes it's just, hey, this guy has been a really solid recruiter, coach for a great team for a good amount of time. And so, yeah, take an associate head coach and elevate him and be the leader of your program.
Meanwhile, half of the women's Final Four is set. UConn improved to 38-0 by blowing out Notre Dame 70-52, and UCLA came back and beat Duke 70-58. The other half of the Final Four will be decided tonight when Michigan plays Texas. Good luck to the Wolverines in that one. Kind of big underdogs. And TCU will play South Carolina, and I believe TCU is even a bigger underdog to South Carolina.
They are. It's amazing how big of a gap it is between the 1 seeds and the 2 and 3s in women's college basketball. Like it is shocking to me that you have situations where you're a 10-point underdog going into the Final Four. 10 points, and you're the 2 seed. That's Michigan. They're a 10-point underdog. Yeah. It is crazy, but that just goes to show, too, how chalky that sport is right now. And the best players go to the #1 programs, the Texases, the UConns, the South Carolinas, and those are probably the programs that will consistently win because there isn't a big enough pool right now of great women's college basketball players that want to go to the Michigans and the TCUs.
You know, in sports, it's interesting how like Bills Mafia gets a ton of credit because of their generosity, and they're amazing. But sports fan bases can be so philanthropic, and we live in a philanthropic area in St. Louis, one of the most in the country. But the Blues alumni held their 3rd Puck Cancer Night on Friday.
Chase is the best. I wouldn't miss it for the world, and he's done so much for the hockey community.
That's Paul Bissonnette. Let's hear from him.
So, like I said, I wouldn't miss this for the world, and we'll keep fighting for Chaser just like he's doing himself.
Kelly Chase dealing with leukemia, and he's having a rough go of it, but the Blues alumni held the Puck Cancer Night, and Chaser he talked to the crowd. An array of stars came out to support him in the fight against cancer. Among those on hand, Broncos coach Sean Payton, country star Dierks Bentley, former Blues power forwards Brendan Shanahan and David Backus, plus TNT's Paul Bissonnette, Biz Nasty, as you heard, and there's Chris Pronger. And the Blues fans stepped up, and they've given over $1 million in the first 2 years. I would guess we'll go over $1.5 million for the fight against cancer and to the V Foundation here.
So amazing. Just so amazing. That's just the hockey community. The hockey community comes together for their own, and really that's sports, right? Any community, basketball, baseball, hockey in this case, will come together for one fighting cause. And it's just really cool to see not only St. Louis do that, because you're right, we are a very big philanthropic town, but to do it for a guy like Chaser, somebody that you know very well, that means so much to this community just in general for the person that he is, and then you also know how nasty this disease is. And so everybody is, if there's one cause to stand up for, it's a cause like this. And, Chaser, we're with you. We hope that you keep fighting through this, but really cool by not just the alumni, but celebrities from all over the country coming together for this game.
And the fans who are willing to get out there and spend their hard-earned money to help fight cancer and to donate to the Blues alumni and obviously the V Foundation. All right, our favorite umpire was busy this weekend. Let's look at CB Bucknor. He's been around, and so the baseball ABS system is in place and working, unless you are CB Bucknor, a man notorious for his terrible strike zones, was challenged 8 times on Saturday, and it turned out he missed 6.
That one wasn't the worst one, though.
The Reds were 5 for 5 in their challenges. And we've always known this guy was bad, but now we've got definitive, absolute, unequivocal proof, right? This is great.
Facts.
Yeah, Eugenio Suarez here. So he challenges on back-to-back pitches where Bucknor rang him up. He hits the helmet. Okay, watch Suarez. Mm-hmm. He'll tap the helmet for the challenge. Boom, there it is.
Right away.
Yep, and he knew. And on back-to-back pitches.
Yeah, here's the second one.
Yep. Unreal. And
right away.
Come on.
Right away.
So he had a rough go of it, and he always does. He's just not a very good balls and strikes umpire.
Well, and the best thing about ABS now is you don't have to worry about getting tossed.
Right.
Because in this case, that's arguing a call. That's Eugenio Suarez arguing the strike zone without having to scream in CB Buckner's face or having his manager come out and get tossed. It's even more embarrassing for the CB Buckners of the world to have that happen. Not just once, not just twice. It happened like 5 times.
5 for the Reds, yeah.
6
to 8 overall. How the Red Sox were only 1 of 3 is beyond me. But then Alex Cora got tossed because he ran out of challenges, and in the 9th inning, 8th inning, I guess, he had the opportunity, if he would have had challenges, to challenge a horrible CB Buckner call, but he had run out of challenges.
It's just amazing. This is exactly why, though, so many people out there think that umpires are just going to be gone because of the CB Buckners. And there's so many good umpires in baseball, but you just have to wean out the bad in this case. We don't need another Angel Hernandez. No one needed to take his spot at the podium, so let's get CB Buckner out of there.
Yeah, by the way, he was accurate, apparently, according to the people that study these sorts of things, accurate 88% of the time.
I guess that's okay, right? That's what you want, right? 88. You don't want to get close to 100.
I'd rather have 98. That'd be good. Golf at the Texas Children's Houston Open. Gary Woodland.
So we play an individual sport out here, but I wasn't alone today. And I got a lot of people behind me, my team, my family, in this golf world. Anybody that's struggling with something, I hope they see me and don't give up.
Pretty amazing. This is a guy that won for the first time since the 2019 U.S. Open, and for the first time since brain surgery a couple of years ago, and the resulting PTSD after the surgery. Woodland was fantastic. He beat second place Nicholas Højgaard by 5 strokes. Brooks Koepka, by the way, missed the cut by 6. I picked him to finish in the top 5.
Yeah, and I also said, man, he's ramping up at the right time for the Masters.
Yeah.
Getting cut isn't the way you want to do that. But in this case, somebody must have been cutting onions for me because I was tearing up over Gary Woodland's story. And his story is incredible. I mean, we just got done talking about the Blues and Puck Cancer Night. Golf is another one where, like, these guys come together. I thought it was really cool that Højgaard and Min Woo Lee left the green after he sank his putt for the celebration, which is only done at like majors. They don't do that at just your random Texas Houston Open. And here you got that moment because golf or I guess the story was bigger than the sport at the time, and they let him have his moment with his wife. Really cool to see Gary Woodland back on top.
And if you aren't aware of it, Gary Woodland, back in 2019 when he won the U.S. Open, he was supposed to be the next big thing. He was in the top 5 on the PGA Tour in driving distance and accuracy. He was on his way to being great, then took a little downturn and then dealt with the cancer and the surgery, and now is coming back. So really a great story, and that's the one in golf that you take away from 2026. Regardless of what happens, and on the other side of Tiger Woods getting another driving under the influence, here you have a great story in Gary Woodland.
Well, and we talk about how in our own golf games as amateurs, we decide, we get in our own head and we have bad shots over and over. And you mentioned the PTSD that he had to go through. Like, I can't even imagine what Gary Woodland had to mentally compete with on a daily basis. Because when I have a bad shot, I'm in my own head. This guy's not having bad shots, but he's in his own head and what he had to overcome.
Well, and what do you need to be a great golfer? You need to have incredible focus. It's a mental game more than anything else. And when you do have post-traumatic stress disorder, when you're thinking about what has happened to you in the past, you can't focus on every single shot, and he's working to overcome it. And like he said, hey, if you're fighting something, don't give up, and use him as an example.
And he dominated this tournament. He was in front
five-shot win.
in like the second round, early in the second round of this tournament. So good on him. I actually love that he had such a big gap too in score because he didn't have to worry about all of those intangibles at the moment.
Those are our weekend highlights. And coming up in the list, our favorite things from Cardinals opening weekend right here in The Fight. It's time for the list, and the first weekend of the Cardinals season is complete, and we have our favorite moments from the Cardinals opening weekend right here on the list. And Andrew, I'm going to get things started with Jordan Walker. How about his home run yesterday? Even though the Cardinals lost their game, there were many positives, and Jordan was fantastic. Now, he's gotten off to a great start in the field. He's playing a great right field. But how about this? His first home run of the season. It's early, but Walker is hitting the ball hard. It's not always in the air, but it'll be interesting to see if he can get more loft for as hard as he hits it to get more extra base hits. And, oh, by the way, he is, in terms of hard hit rate, he's in the top 10 percentile of all of Major League Baseball.
Well, that doesn't shock me because this is just a big dude that can hit the ball really hard and really far when he wants to and when he squares it up. And we just haven't been seeing him square the baseball up all too much. But he did on that swing. I mean, this is a swing, too, where sometimes you see it come off the bat and you're like, that might just be a deep fly ball. But a guy like him can put it over the wall on many more occasions than just that. But I was really impressed with him. I was really impressed with Nolan Gorman. Those were the two guys that we kind of came into the season wondering, can they get off to faster starts? That was the start we needed to see from Jordan Walker.
And I think we'll see it one more time here. Watch him go down and get this pitch, too, because this is not an easy pitch to hit out of the ballpark into left center. So, he's going to be fine, relatively speaking. He should be better than he was before, and hopefully he just gets better and better.
Just stay confident, Jordan. Yep. Just stay confident. Okay, my number 3. Remember when we were all super unhappy with the Cardinals' choice of not starting Nelson Velasquez in left field? Well, Nathan Church said, hold my $5 Budweiser Terrace beer, guys. I love highlights like this. Maybe it's because I played the outfield, but I just go nuts over big-time defensive plays. A true home run robbing catch. He also added 3 hits and 2 RBIs on opening day, and you could say, hey, maybe we were wrong about wanting Nelson Velasquez out there. I don't know if Velasquez makes a catch like this.
I'm going to bet no. I'm going to say he does not. Nelson is a good hitter. I don't think that he's known for defense quite like this. And the Cardinals do like the tools that Nathan Church possesses. He can hit for average. He can run. He obviously can field. He's got a pretty good arm. He'll be a valuable guy to have on this team.
And he was a guy, too, that has always come in second place to a lot of rosters. And this was his real opportunity to ball out. And so that emotion that was shown after he caught that baseball kind of was him releasing all of those, like, I belong to be here. I belong here. I belong to be here. I belong here. And Nathan Church is showing right now that, hey, if you have a good glove, you can remain on an MLB roster. Now let's hope that the bat performs like it did on opening day. We didn't see it the rest of the days of the weekend, but let's see if he can get back and squaring up that baseball.
All right, my number 2, lots of folks were leaving the opener after the Rays scored 6 in the top of the 6th, but the Cardinals did come back. Nolan Gorman with the 2-run single, Church with the 2-run single, a couple of sac flies. The opener all of a sudden tied at 7 when Alec Burleson untied it, and I love his reaction. My favorite part of this home run is not the ball leaving the ballpark. It's Alec Burleson. There you go, looking at the dugout, watching that thing. He posed a little bit for the home run, and it was fantastic. Burleson is, I think he's the Cardinals' most underrated player, and people in the organization don't necessarily disagree with that. The Cardinal bullpen, by the way, made it really exciting in the 9th, but the Redbirds held on for that 9-7 win in the opener, and that was the winning hit right there.
Baseball is fun. Bat flips are fun. Eyeing up your home run and celebrating like that is fun. And on opening day, it's even more fun to have that happen. Burley, I expect some more bombs like this, Randy. He's not somebody that typically is pointed to as a home run hitter. But I think now, from what I've seen with his swings, even coming off the season last year, I think Burley might be the team leader in home runs. It might be crazy to say because you would just think of Ivan Herrera by default, but Burley is just one of those guys that just does the little things right.
Yeah, he's a really good hitter. By the way, Pop Warner didn't want anything to do with the high fives. He was going to break an arm. So good for Burley, and he's a really good number 3 hitter, and he can play first base.
Yeah, underrated for sure. Okay, my number 2. Saturday was just as fun as opening day in my eyes. We talked about it earlier. This team doesn't shy away from drama. It's McGreevy's no-hitter that did it for me, though. Michael was excellent. Everything was working for him, and it's like he didn't skip a beat from last season. McGreevy walked 2 and struck out 5 batters before departing after throwing 96 pitches. And it sucks that the 9th inning happened and McGreevy didn't get the win after a flawless start. It also sucks that pitchers get pulled now when they have no hitters. But if the Cardinals can get similar performances to that this season, he'll stay as the clear number 2 for this team.
Yeah, everybody talks about how he's not going to be a number 1. Well, I wonder when the fall off is going to occur. Now, he doesn't strike out a bunch of people. Now, he did there, but he's not a guy that is that power swing and miss guy. But you know what? Sometimes you can get people out in other ways. And there are guys that have pretty good careers that were able to spot the ball, have command within the strike zone. McGreevy appears to have that. I wonder, because even Cardinal people predict that he's not a number 1. Well, I wonder when the fall off occurs.
Yeah, I don't know. I think his demeanor is what's going to keep him right where he's at. He is just somebody that doesn't get fazed by anything, whatever is hit at him. And he even smiled at the first pitch of the game when Diaz almost took him deep. He's like, oh man, I really got away with that one. And they had a nice little back and forth exchange. The fact that he can kind of get loose in that moment and then just go right back to his serious, I'm him on the mound. Yeah, Michael McGreevy is just this guy that is just so cool, calm, and collected that I don't think a lot is going to phase him to cause a fall off.
All right, my number 1, and you mentioned the bullpen and McGreevy not getting the win on Saturday, but another resilient effort. You kind of figured that that 4-0 lead that McGreevy provided, that it would be easy, but it wasn't. Tampa tied it against the Cardinal bullpen in the 9th and then took a 1-run lead in the 10th. But in the bottom of the 10th, Jordan Walker, of course, walked, because Walker's walk. Victor Scott II with a sac bunt to give J.J. Weatherholt a chance to win it, and he did. The rookie, man, you talk about drama, a home run in his opener, and then this game-winning hit, his first walk-off hit in the major leagues in just his 2nd game, and he started the party on Saturday.
That is awesome. That is awesome. That is what Cardinal fans needed to see. Not just wanted to see. They needed moments like that out of J.J. Weatherholt because that gives you signs of we're going to be okay in the future. Performances like this, we're going to be okay because we have J.J. Weatherholt.
He really does appear to have the it factor, doesn't he? You watch him come to the plate, and you think, okay, he's going to get a hit. He just has that aura about him after only 3 games, like he's a big game, big time player.
And he made some great defensive plays too. I mean, the fact that his full extension jump to catch a line drive, he made a nice play on a grounder up the middle. Like, he's somebody that can also flash the leather as much as he is a leadoff hitter for this team.
And it'll be fun if he succeeds this week. It'll be great to have the New York media in town and get a load of what he's capable of. And by the way, the 2 rookies of the Rookie of the Year favorites, I would say, Benj for New York and Weatherholt of the Cardinals going against each other this week.
And don't forget about Nolan McLean, too, with New York and the Mets. He's somebody that I think is the current favorite right now. But Weatherholt's weekend is slowly bringing him above the Connor Griffins of the world who, you know, I don't even know when we're going to see that.
Yeah, you got to play in the majors before you can be the Major League Rookie of the Year.
And Sal Stewart also is a name to watch out for. He had a really good weekend in Cincinnati. Okay, I said last week that the hook for April and May for Cardinal fans would be the emergence of J.J. Weatherholt. And the number 1 prospect, you know, we were all excited to see delivered on opening day. Not the very first at bat, but the second at bat. The first at bat was good. He actually took like a 6 pitches or 7 pitches in that AB. But this second at bat, down 0-2 in the count, our friend of the show, Brad Thompson, mentioned, you know, I'm really curious to see how he battles with 2 strikes, how he protects in that moment. I've got to say, Randy, if that's Weatherholt's protection swing, we're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
An opening day home run is everything he's dreamed of. It's everything the fans dreamed of. Plus, JJ ended the weekend hitting .308. That is a dream in itself.
And he's not the biggest guy in the world, but man, he showed power there. And if you can hit the ball out to that part of the ballpark, you have power. Do I expect him to be a 30 home run hitter? No, but it was great to see that he has that sort of ability. And I wonder if he'll ever try to hit home runs, because the guys who hit the most home runs say I'd ever tried to. So I wonder if he'll be one of those guys.
He's one of those deep doubles hitters. Somebody that just likes to find a gap. Also, that fan, I don't think he got away with the baseball, right? I think they tracked him down.
Yeah.
You see, if you're going to pull a stunt like that, you have to have like a watch person, like somebody to hand the ball off and do a switcheroo with if you want to come away with JJ JJ's ball, and then maybe JJ or the Cardinals in the trophy case authenticated the wrong baseball, and then you have the right one forever.
Yeah, then what good does that do you?
Yeah, no, it doesn't do you any good because you can't sell that on eBay. It's
No.
like going to the pawn shop with like a stolen item. At some point, it's going to get flagged.
Yeah, so I hope that guy didn't get roughed up too bad.
Hey, but good on him to at least go after it. Like, take your chances.
Hey.
Wayne Gretzky used to say, Randy, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
This is true. And if the Cardinals, by the way, having won 2 out of 3, if they do that for every 3 games this year, win 2 out of 3, they're going to win the division.
And they're going to hit that win total that I talked about just before the season.
I would say so. Yeah, that'll be fun, winning 108 games. All right, that is our list. And next up, we've got some risky business. We're going to build a parlay for you here in the fight. All right, I want you to know about my friends at St. Luke's with their great one-stop executive health program. Half a day, fully comprehensive physical, including labs, EKG, chest x-rays, fitness evaluation, and nutrition counseling, all in one streamlined visit to St. Luke's. They have concierge service. They have a private suite for you with complimentary Wi-Fi, so you can actually get some work done during the visit. The screenings that matter: heart health, cancer markers, metabolic panels, thyroid, vitamin D, and more. If you're a guy that is getting up there in years, if you're beyond your 40th birthday, I know that's not really getting up there in years, but you want to make sure that you're healthy, take advantage and go beyond the basics with optional cardiology, vascular, pulmonary, sleep, and imaging add-ons available. And with this half-day evaluation, you can make sure that your health is where it needs to be, and you don't need to go back to the doctor for a year. Now that is convenience, and no surprise, it's available from St. Luke's. Ask about their executive health program. See the St. Luke's difference for yourself. Call 314-205-6060 today for world-class compassionate care, or visit online at stlukes-stl.com. All right, we've got some risky business for you. We are going to build a parlay, and if you aren't aware of it, the NCAA Women's Tournament is going on too. We've got regional finals tonight, and you've got TCU, the 3rd seed, taking on number 1 seed South Carolina. South Carolina the other night hammered Oklahoma, the 4th seed, and Tania Latson had 34 combined points, rebounds, and assists.
Hey.
So tonight, Tania is going to be taking on TCU, and she is minus 132 to get plus to get 22 plus points, rebounds, assists.
Yeah.
Okay, to get 25, she's plus 163. Now she had 34. Remember, she had 34 the other night. So I am going to go with Tania Latson to go with 25 plus points, rebounds, assists in the game against TCU tonight.
Trust Randy, he's a
Go Game
South Carolina insider.
Dawn Staley is. She's the thing. She's the real thing. She's great.
All right, Randy, I've told you I'm all about college basketball, but guess what college basketball did to all of our parlays last week?
Messed them up?
Yep, I messed up every single parlay with my picks last week.
We've got time until the next college basketball game.
So I'm going to go over to the NHL slate and talk about our St. Louis Blues, who don't have a lot of time if they want to make the playoffs this year. But the Sharks and the Blues are tied right now in the standings at 73 points apiece. The Sharks have a game in hand. So if the Blues want a shot at making the playoffs, they have to start by beating the Sharks
to win this
tonight.
game.
This one really matters. So it's an even split. Vegas doesn't know who to give the edge to, so let's give it to the St. Louis Blues on the road.
I like that idea. Slow down Macklin Celebrini. Blues were able to go in there and beat San Jose a week ago. And let's hope that they can do it again as they start a 4-game trip out west.
And we can make $500. So talking about well, let's say a trip down the right lane. This will be the perfect trip down the right lane if we start with $500.
So a little double header for you, actually a quadruple header, because you'll be able to watch not only our fastball at 4 o'clock, right? That goes 4 to 5. Then you'll watch our next show from 5 to 6, and then you've got NCAA women, and then you've got Blues and Sharks.
We're filling up your calendar tonight.
Yeah,
that's all we're
just
doing.
Sit down and watch TV. All right, that is our little parlay for you. Coming up, we've got Take It or Leave It, story time with Uncle Randy, and Today in Sports History here in The Fight. All right, it's time for Take It or Leave It here in the fight. And Andrew, I don't know if you saw this, but the NFL Referees Association, their CBA is set to expire on May 31st. And if they don't come to an agreement, the NFL will hire replacement refs if a work stoppage occurs.
That's never happened.
But take it or leave it. As long as it's not your team, you kind of want to see another fail Mary, just like this. Yeah, let's see if we can see a fail Mary here.
Can we see the fail Mary? Do we have it?
That's pretty good. Maybe we don't. So there we go.
There it is.
Oh, incomplete. Touchdown. That's as good as it gets.
Yeah,
I want to see that again.
Those are the most iconic photos. I mean, the safe out call at second base,
with
too.
Mike Shannon.
Yep, that one is incredible. Take that, 100%.
We need another fail Mary.
That'd be amazing.
Pretty good.
That's what happens when you get replacement refs.
Yeah, it is. I love it. That was so great. So and Monday Night Football too, right? So it happened in the biggest game, Seattle and Green Bay, in the biggest game of the week.
Well, it's too bad the NFL they can't pay full-time officials that they just don't make enough money.
They don't have enough.
It's too bad.
Unreal.
All right. Mine for you, Randy, is this. So you teased this earlier on in the show when we talked about CB Buckner. Alex Cora was ejected by Buckner on Saturday for arguing a check swing call on Trevor's Story. And Buckner did not appeal to the first base umpire on the check swing, which that was really what caused the divisiveness. He had several other calls, as we talked about, overturned courtesy of ABS challenges in the same game. But that was the check swing that he called a strike right away. And Story did not like it. So take it or leave it, Randy. There will someday be a checked swing automated system.
Oh, there will be. Yeah, there has to be. Why not? It just makes sense. Now, I don't know if you do it with a chip in the bat and the plate, or if you have it with video. But yeah, there absolutely needs to be.
I think it's pretty easy based on what you talked about with goal line technology and how easy it is for soccer and tennis to be able to be matched up like that. If you drew a line on the plate and you put up a graphic, does the bat, does it look like it was a swing and not just a full-on check? So yeah, I agree. I think at some point in time, everything's going to have some sort of automation.
Why not? It'd probably be just as quick. Well, the umpires are pretty quick with that too, but
they are.
Yeah, why not have that?
When are we going to hear?
And force a team to use a challenge if they want to do it.
CB Buckner probably should just wear an earpiece all the time and have somebody say strike or ball.
They should.
Just to really help his cause.
Yep. All right, time now for story time with Uncle Randy. We're going to spin the wheel. We're going to come up with a decade. We're going to come up with a sport, and we're going to come up with a story for you from the
2010s.
2010s. Well, there it is, 2010s. So 2010 to 2019, that is where the decade is going to be, and we're going to do a little bit of 2010s baseball for you. Okay.
What's fresh on the mind?
I think that we need to do. I'm thinking about something later on in the decade. Okay, you know what is a fun one? Is after Mike Schilt took over as the Cardinal manager, one of the players that he really liked was Jack Flaherty. Flaherty, Irish guy, had one of the best half seasons in all of Major League history. The second half of his 2019 season, he had like a 0.54 earned run average. He was absolutely remarkable. But this is a little story about the playoffs, because the Cardinals, in the clinching Game 5 in Atlanta, scored 10 runs in the first inning, and Flaherty was the Cardinals starter. And there were a lot of people that thought that Mike Schilt should have taken Flaherty out and never pitched him in that game and allowed him to be available for the league championship series against Washington, but he pitched him anyway. Schilt decided, okay, go out and take the mound after we've scored 10 and you can pitch, and didn't have Flaherty until later on in the series. And Flaherty had already warmed up. He was hot. He was ready to go. And it wasn't a horrible move. It wasn't a great move. It was a debatable move. But I've always wondered whether or not the Cardinals would have had more success in that series against Washington in the LCS if Flaherty would have been available to pitch Game 1 of that series rather than pitching later on. Not that the Cardinals had terrible pitching in that series, they just couldn't hit. But when you have your man who's so hot pitching in game one of a playoff series, it makes a ton of difference.
Oh, 100%. And I think you're right. The best way to describe that was debate. It was a debate because he went through his entire routine leading up to that baseball game. He totally was warmed up, ready to go, whether it was 10-0 or whether it was 0-0. Because anytime a pitcher takes the mound, in their head it's 0-0. It's a restart of an entire inning. Now you're relying on the bullpen to get warm and hot right away. And who's that guy? What if he struggles out of the gate? What if the Braves claw all the way back? And then what are we talking about? Do the Cardinals move on, or do they blow a 10-run lead? You wonder those things too. So I don't think Schulte made the wrong move, but I'm with you in the sense of if you have your number one, if you have your ace, that's a tone setter. And that's the way to start a championship league series.
Yeah, and one other part of this, by the way, just look at it from a weather standpoint. If a pitcher gets hot, he's ready to go, and then all of a sudden a surprise storm pops up and you get rained out, you're probably going to pitch him the next night. That happened with Sonny Gray. Not that it worked very well for Sonny Gray, but I think more times than not, you're going to pitch that guy who warmed up on Tuesday night to get ready to take on Milwaukee. You're going to pitch him on Wednesday night if you had a rainout. And sometimes it happens and you do it. I'm with you. I understand Mike Schultz's thought process there. You wanted to lock that baby down, and they did. They won the game. But you just have to go back to, okay, what if we would have had Flaherty for game
We
one?
love what ifs in sports.
Oh, we do, yeah. So that's story time with Uncle Randy, and we appreciate you being around for that. Now it's time for this date in sports history. And on this date in 1994, pretty late for an NFL coach to be leaving his job. But Jimmy Johnson quit the Cowboys, and how about them Cowboys? He was great. He led them to 2 Super Bowls in 3 seasons, and he left after winning his 3rd Super Bowls, or 2nd Super Bowl, 2 and 3. Under Barry Switzer, who inherited Johnson's team, the Cowboys would go on to another NFC Championship game, lose to San Francisco, and then win another Super Bowl. But that 1995 season is the last time Dallas got to the NFC Championship game. I have to believe if Jerry Jones would have kept Jimmy Johnson around, they would have had a legitimate big-time dynasty.
Isn't that insane, too? Because you think back to the quarterbacks, and they kind of have a similar quarterback situation that, like, Green Bay had all of those years, with just Favre, Rodgers, now Love. Was there anybody between Aikman and Romo?
No, it was not great. Let's see. Who did? You went right from base. Well, no, you did have. You had some nondescript guys in between.
Okay, but basically it was Aikman, Romo, now Prescott, right?
Yeah, right.
And the fact that you can have just 3 dudes and highly paid individuals on that team, and you can't make another championship game, an NFC championship game? Are we serious?
Jerry Jones.
He didn't even look like he aged in that clip either.
Right, no doubt about it. All right, we have Cardinals Fastball, a 1-hour condensed version of the previous day's Cardinal game every day here on Matrix Midwest. You'll see it at noon and 4 today. By the way, tell your friends you see The Fight with Carricker and Company every day at 5 and 10 here on Matrix Midwest. Then we re-air it at 7 the next morning. And you can catch us on the Matrix Midwest app and the First Alert 4 on. Just search for that, and we're on every Thursday, by the way, Thursday night, Friday morning. You can play the fight with us, too. Just sign up at The Fight at matrixmidwest.com. Great job, sir. Thank you.
Great job by you.
That's Andrew. Greg Rosno in for Tyler Klaus, our director today. I'm Randy Carricker, and we'll see you next time here in The Fight. So long, everybody.